The Commanders went farther than anyone thought they would. And even though they lost, the future looks bright, which seemed impossible just a year ago. So congrats, ya filthy commies. Meanwhile, chicken wings are drenched in tears from another Bills failure, which is not to pick on the Bills. There's just literally no other way to see this. They still have yet to beat the Chiefs when it matters most. Welcome to Shut Up Football. I am your ambivalent host, Jeff Stoltzfus. That's Kevin. Well, we did it! And by we, I mean me, and by me, I mean them. My beloved Philadelphia Eagles are going to the Super Bowl to face the Kansas City Chiefs, who, frankly, don't even need it. Turns out they won last year, and the year before that. That's just greedy. Now everyone wants to say they're going for the three-peat, but they can't, because former NBA human Pat Riley literally trademarked the term in 1988. In fact, I didn't just say it. I was actually talking about three Petes I just so happen to know. Pete Davidson, Pete Sampras, and Peter Dinklage. I only know him a little bit. Except, it turns out that even that isn't enough because USC tried to use that too for Pete Carroll during his USC days. And Pat Riley challenged it and won. Technically, we can't say Super Bowl either. That's also trademarked. Not even really sure what people can say these days. It seems like nothing. Luckily, I never make sense, and neither does the NFL roast. Welcome to Philadelphia, the birthplace of the Constitution and Kevin Bacon. The city that gave Tom Hanks AIDS. Jalen Hurts showed up looking like a Black Panther from a men's warehouse. Meanwhile, in the parking lot, Commanders and Eagles fans found peace on common ground. Dan Quinn told his team,
"You go out there and compete like you're playing for your rent money and it's due."
"Bitch better have my money" is an interesting choice for a war cry. The Commanders were led by rookie sensation and 6th place in a Prince lookalike contest, Jayden Daniels. He took his team down the field on the opening possession with the cool, comfortable swagger of a roll-on deodorant. But they had to settle for a stupid field goal. It was time for Jalen Hurts to silence the doubters. He does more than just hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, so he handed the ball off to Saquon Barkley. 60-plus yards to the house through a criminal number of sad attempted tackles. Commander Diami Brown fumbled after Zach Bond punched it out. Actually, he punched rookie Cooper DeJean in the hand, which showed Bond's next-level commitment to his team. He would cut every one of his teammates to shreds if it helped them win. Saquon Barkley touched the ball for a second time, and it led to more points. The Commanders needed a spark, and they got one on the arm of their punter. Fakey McPunterson, aptly named for his deception and limited skills, he kept the drive alive. A drive that ended with Terry McLaurin dragging Darius Slay into the end zone. McLaurin inspired the next generation with his poetic words after, "Yes! I do this! I do this!" Yes, Terry, you do this. A simple message that resonated with children under 3 and adults who still play with blocks and should never be left alone with scissors. Jalen Hurts got the Eagles back down to the goal line again, and they ran their signature move, a pile. But after, a skirmish broke out as people started acting a fool. Where did all those extra refs come from? Turns out there were 7 alternate officials waiting in the wings, and a melee like this was like shining the bat symbol for them. Nice to know we have backups, but some of them look pretty old. One threw a flag and butterscotch candies fell out of his pockets. The Commanders turned the ball over again on the ensuing kickoff. Jeremy McNichols was slathered in movie theater grade popcorn butter. Hurts connected with A.J. Brown for a touchdown, and things were getting out of hand before the half. Just like that time, I accidentally drove through a bird sanctuary. It was eagles everywhere. When sharpened skeleton Tom Brady gets an idea in his head, it's going fucking nowhere. He saw Terry Bradshaw and became so enamored he couldn't stop talking about studs.
Jonathan Allen, one of the stud defensive linemen.
It takes from your stud running back.
Seeing this little young stud from Clemson. What a stud. What a stud linebacker he's been. What a stud player. What a stud.
Jalen Hurts scampered for another score, and Jayden Daniels returned serve with his own. This game wasn't out of reach, but another Commanders drive was cut short after Austin Eckler had the ball punched out. The third Commanders turnover of the day, and Brady did him dirty.
He's had fumbling problems over the course of his career. He's got very small hands.
Itty bitty baby hands, you are ruining this man's Tinder profile. This game gave us the gift of knowledge. After 10,000 offsides flags and Frankie Louvu diving out of the tall grass like a cheetah, the refs alerted us to a little-known rule.
Washington has been advised that at some point the referee can award a score if this type of behavior happens again.
They can give a touchdown away? What is this, a Chiefs game? How does that even work? Does the ref hold hands with Jalen and walk him across the goal line? Or is this a piggyback situation? After the Eagles shoved Jalen Hurts' sphincter through his throat for another score, Saquon Barkley got his third touchdown of the game. Daniels was picked off by Quinyon Mitchell in the end zone. And after Will Shipley waggled his tongue down the field like he was taste testing air, he slammed it in for another 6 to make it 55. That's 8 total touchdowns, tied for the most points in an NFC Championship game. It was time to douse Nick Sirianni in a season's worth of urine. The only W the Commanders left with was the 1 on their helmets. Congratulations, Philadelphia. For the second time in 3 years, you're headed back to the Super Bowl. Time to start greasing those poles. And no, that is not a euphemism. Welcome to Kansas City, Paris of the Plains, the birthplace of that old guy from Up. Here comes the pitter patter of Patty Mahomes with the ceremonial low 5 to a rat. Patrick Mahomes is built for this. His goat blood was pumping, his balls super veiny. Their first drive featured Candy Law Firm Juju Smith-Schuster and high character guy Kareem Hunt, who punched it in like it was a woman. Tony Romo hit us with the hard-hitting analysis that only he could provide.
They all play football together a lot.
That checks out. Thanks, Tony. Mahomes fumbled on a fake to Isaiah Pacheco. It was strategically questionable, but let's see where he goes with this. The Bills finally got in the end zone. It was James Cook.
Who is cooking?
But it was all carrots and onions, which is just food your food eats. The Chiefs hit back with Slenderman rookie Xavier Worthy, who scored after outrunning EKG MVP Damar Hamlin. I guess death never ran a 40. Backup tight end Taylor Swift was elated. Nico Remigio returned a kick into Bills territory. Andy Reid said Nico does it all, which is why they only let him do one thing. Patrick Mahomes ran one in for a score, and the Bills started losing their cool. Keep it together, Bills! Just keep it together! Rarely do they talk about emotional intelligence in football, because it's stupid and it makes me angry. Josh Allen found Mac Hollins before the half for a much-needed score. One of the Bills' strengths became a weakness as they went for 2 points with a Buffalo poo push, but they failed to convert. One of many short yardage problems on the day. Halftime featured the biggest cocaine mirror I've ever seen. You could build a sandcastle out of Bolivian marching powder on that. Why do they even need a table? Not a single cup of coffee between them. Is that all just for James Brown's notes? How many words could he possibly have after what do you guys think? James Cook started the second half scoring by challenging my grasp of anatomy and what is possible in this world. He clearly broke his torso prior to the goal line. I've never seen a before and after picture all in one. But somehow, he got the touchdown anyway. A Herculean effort, immediately undercut by the failed 2-point try after. The Bills were denied on 4th and inches, which is also what the missus calls me. A controversial call, but there was incontrovertible evidence that, shit, maybe. Mahomes took advantage, scurrying in for his second rushing touchdown, and spiked the ball with the authority of an angry toddler. The Bills were forced into another 4th down, and Allen was blitzed harder than 1940s England. Dalton Kincaid couldn't handle the desperation pass, and that was it. The Chiefs ran the clock out. Welcome to hell. Can nothing stop this team outside of death? If Josh Allen wants to get to a Super Bowl, he better get good at Madden or become Taylor's +1. And seriously, why did they trade for Amari Cooper? Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. You are now on the precipice of multiple Petes. Before I go, a bit of housekeeping. The only NFL roast left is the Super Bowl episode, but I'll have a video or two out before that. I'll also be on the If These Balls Could Talk podcast next week, which I'll try to co-stream here on this channel. And this channel is year-round. It's always a good time for football, and it's always a good time for a laugh, which I hope I made you do at least a little bit this season. Or if you're watching out of pity, I will take that too. I am not a prideful man. I am a jellyfish with Wi-Fi. Thanks for watching Shut Up Football. Please leave your comments below. Say hi to your mom for me, and we'll see you soon. Peace!
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
I did it!